is late model stock car racing from Cayuga, Ontario, where today 34 cars that in total put out over 16,000 horsepower will go for the $60,000 purse and the Molson Canadian Trophy. Hello everybody, I'm Bill Inkall, trackside at the Molson Canadian 200. This is stock car country, where oval track racing is king. Today, the big names from Canada and the American Speed Association will do battle for 200 laps on this 5/8 mile oval. You might call this the Battle of the Border, but so far the Americans are ahead on the scoreboard. They've won 6 out of the last 8 encounters. This man, Junior Hanley from Oakville, Ontario, he's the one on the left of the screen, has won 2 Molson events in the past. Junior is starting on the 6th row today and is the fastest Canadian qualifier. There are also some new faces here. Number 76 is Trevor Boys from Calgary, Alberta. He ran a season of NASCAR last year and qualified 23rd.
Doing presentations of the top qualifiers.
A name that you might be familiar with if you follow the road racing circuit, but who's very new to oval track racing is Canadian Bill Adam. Bill is driving the Cam 2 Firebird, and he had his problems qualify yesterday. We asked him what changes he had to make to his driving style for oval track racing.
Well, the first change was very obvious because when I got into the car, I found the seat was designed for Dave Jensen, a regular driver, who is about 6'4" and about 240 pounds, so I felt like a BB rolling around inside a bowl. And they actually had to put some padding that really involved just some blankets and that at the bottom of the seat. And once I got fit up with that, I'm faced with a steering wheel that's about twice the size of that on a GT car like I usually drive. It's almost like a bus. It's a massive big wheel. Then when you get on the track, there's no shifting involved, no downshifting at all. You run the track strictly in high gear. The car is geared so that it'll pull about 7,500 RPM in top gear down the straights. You get off it, onto the brakes at the corner, and then start feeding the gas back to it. You don't have any downshifting or any hand-eye coordination that's required on a road circuit like that.
Unfortunately, Bill Adam, because he had so much trouble adjusting to his oval track car, will be starting on the last row of the grid. He hit the wall yesterday during the hot laps, and the crew had their work cut out for them repairing the car. But this driver, Jim Sauter from Wisconsin, earned the pole position with a qualifying speed of 19.696 seconds. He was fast, but not quite fast enough to better Dick Trickle's lap record of 19.547 seconds. One of the reasons why Sauter didn't break the Cayuga record may be because he ran on this brand new surface, which has not had time to cure. We asked Cayuga International Speedway owner Bob Slack what the reason was for relaying the track so close to the Molson 200 race.
Well, as you know, our last show was a truck race and trade show, and that when you run a truck race, you're working with 14,000-pound machines, and just felt that it had to be all redone because it broke up the track in certain spots, which we could have repaired, and we did, really, but we felt in order to keep it a good, safe track and keep good racing here, we resurfaced the whole track.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what problems arise when 34 cars go 200 laps on this new surface. With me today, sharing the microphone duties, is announcer Gary Poindexter. Welcome, Gary. You've had a chance to talk to some of the drivers. What are their thoughts?
Thanks, Bill. You're right, this new track surface has caused lots of problems for these drivers, especially yesterday during qualifying. Dick Trickle was one of the drivers in qualifying that had lots of problems. The first lap was good for second place starting this afternoon, but the second lap was a disaster. Of course, Dick is the defending champion of the Molson 200. We also had a chance to talk to Jim Sauter, who set fast time yesterday, starts on the pole of today's race.
The new track surface is super, I think. It's, anytime it's brand new, it may be a little slick, but it proved to come right up on us and give us good adhesion right away yesterday. We're right close to the record here with smaller carburetors and smaller engine, and I think the track surface in 4 or 5 races is going to be excellent.
Well, I guess that's a pretty good endorsement for this new track surface. We are just moments away from the start of this Molson Canadian 200 race.
We're just minutes away.
Welcome back to the Molson Canadian 200 from Cayuga International Speedway in Nels Corners, Ontario. I'm Bill Inkall, and with me is American Speed Association announcer Gary Poindexter. That's Randy Slack, who lives just a few miles from this racetrack. This is the pole sitter, Jim Sauter. It appears that the drivers are ready to go, and so from Norm Webb of Molson's, here are the words that these 11,000 fans want to hear.
Gentlemen, let's go racing.
And here's the defending 200 champion, Dick Trickle. Now for the starting lineup. Jim Sauter and Dick Trickle on the front row. Row 2 is Butch Miller and Mike Eddy. Mark Malcutt and Mark Martin on row 3, and Harold Fair on the inside of row 4. And you see the flashing number 84, Bill. This is Bob Senneker. He qualified 8th, but he starts 24th after being late to the drivers' meeting here yesterday.
Gary, didn't that happen to Dick Trickle last year in this very same race?
Well, yes, it did, Bill. Rex Robbins, the president of ASA, runs a very tight ship. And when Dick Trickle was late last year, they started him 24th. He went on to be the eventual winner. This year, Bob Senneker and Butch Miller flew last night to a race in Michigan. It was Senneker that was late for the race. Miller got back, but it was Senneker now starting in 24th.
Well, I'm not surprised because the weather is not that conducive to flying. There's Bill Adam. He is from Burlington. He usually drives production Jaguars. This will be an experience for him to remember. He's in the last row.